Hi, everyone. Welcome to a conversation with this month's Amber Grant winner. Today, we're speaking with Lindsey Ratcliff, who's the owner of Space Rabbit Coffee, and she's our Amber Grant winner for February 2022. I'm Marsha Layton Turner, and I'm a Women's Net Advisory Board member. So, Lindsey, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So why don't you tell everyone about Space Rabbit Coffee and maybe starting with the origins of the name. Is there a story there?
We get asked that a lot, actually. But the story is probably not as interesting as you would hope. My husband was a travel nurse, and we were traveling full time, living out in Arizona. And we had the amazing opportunity. I had talked about wanting to run my own business for a long time, and we had a coffee shop that we always went to in Arizona and in Lake Havasu City, and she was selling all of her equipment. And she randomly told us one day as we went through the drive-thru of her little shop, it was only a drive-thru, she said, "Yeah, I'm selling everything and moving to New Jersey. I'll sell it all to somebody for $5,000. And without really even thinking twice, I said, "We'll take it." And my husband was kind of sitting beside me like, we will? But he was completely supportive and on board. He knew it had been a dream of mine, and we both spent entirely too much money on coffee. So it seemed like a good idea, if only for us to have coffee for ourselves.
So, did you know at that time what you were going to do with this equipment?
Not exactly. I knew that I wanted to have some sort of coffee shop. It was too good of a deal to pass up on. And what was really weird is we had joked about it so many times. When he would be when we were when we were stationed in other locations for his travel nurse career, we would talk about this coffee shop in Arizona because we had been there on a previous trip. And we had joked about like, oh, we should go out there and have her teach us how she makes her coffee, and then, have her own shop. And like, I would do that and he would still be a nurse, and that was the plan. But it was always a joke. It was never, something we thought seriously about until this. And so, we left there and he was kind of like, "What are you going to do with that stuff?" And I was like, "I haven't figured it out yet."
Right. Something.
Yeah. So we ended up buying the stuff, and in the meantime, I was kind of thinking about different options, and we decided together that a coffee trailer made the most sense because when I was looking at different, leasing options and things like that, we were still living in Arizona. Our home is in Virginia. We knew we were going to stop traveling full time and move back home, but I didn't really know where the best place to set up a new business would be. And it scared me committing to any one location. So I decided on a coffee trailer, and then I found the one that we ended up buying in Utah. We drove and got it. We still didn't have a name for this business.
Lindsey, describe for me, what exactly is a coffee trailer? Is it just something that you pull behind your car?
Mm-hmm. Yes, okay. So we pull it behind our vehicle. Funny enough, when we went to pick it up, the only vehicle we owned that would pull it was our Class A 32-foot RV. So we drove from Arizona to Utah to pick up the coffee trailer in our RV. And so we had a bright blue RV pulling a bright yellow coffee trailer. But anyways, we still didn't have a name. I was still coming up with different ideas, and I would suggest something that I thought was brilliant, and my husband would be like, "Are you sure that's what you want to name your business?" So eventually I was like, I don't know. I thought about how a lot of businesses have like an animal or like a mascot type logo. And so I was trying to come up with an animal, and I suggested rabbit because it's high energy, thinking like Energizer Bunny lines, along that line. And okay. I was like, I need something to go with it, like not coffee rabbit. That sounds crazy. And he was like, "What about space rabbit? Because it's like blasting off into space when you drink our coffee." I was like, Okay, yeah, sure, that sounds great.
It's memorable.
So that's kind of how the name came about and how we ended up with this coffee equipment and this bright yellow coffee trailer. The bright yellow was never the plan. That was the color it was, and I didn't have extra money to throw around to do anything else with it. So it was part of our brand.
So what's the service area that you travel? Do you have a certain route that you take every day with the coffee, or how does that work?
So we opened in June of 2020, which was kind of a blessing and a curse, right? Like a blessing in the fact that a lot of other coffee shops where you have to actually go inside of a building were kind of struggling. So, or, they had temporarily closed, or you could only order online for curbside. So we were, not really affected by any of the lockdowns and regulations and things. So we were able to just set up in parking lots and people could just come on out. We started out in Roanoke, Virginia, which was where we lived. But the business there, it was just slower. So within the first 2 weeks, we decided, let's find a place to set up back in our hometown where we grew up, Pulaski, Virginia. It's like 35 or about an hour southwest of Roanoke. And it was a small town, so we were able to use our family and friends and connections to get the word out really fast. And so we set up there on a Saturday, and it was just crazy busy. It was a huge hit. So ever since then, we were like, well, maybe we'll do, some Roanoke, some Pulaski. This was, before gas was crazy expensive. So we were kind of back and forth. And then places in between started, oh, Space Rabbit Coffee, what is this? Or they would say, I saw you online. You're everywhere online. I drove from Christiansburg. And, places in between, like around Virginia Tech area. And so then it became, we'll do Roanoke one day, Christiansburg one day, Pulaski one day type of thing. So over the last year and a half, close to 2 years now, we've kind of gotten into a little bit of a routine. On Mondays, we're typically closed. On Tuesdays, we're in, this town. On Wednesdays, this town. Could kind of go through the week like that. But we also are flexible enough still that if people want to hire us for private events or things like that, then we do that as well.
Now, how did you hear about the Amber Grant and what made you decide to apply?
We needed money. Our business has grown really fast. And just like I mentioned, we're in different places all the time. And it seems that we sent out a customer survey recently. We had 178 responses within 24 hours. And the biggest complaint was that we're not in each locate. Like if someone lived in Christiansburg, their complaint was we're not in Christiansburg all the time. And that was pretty much across the board wherever anyone lives. So between that information and also just there being so many events that we could be at, but we only have one trailer, so we can't be everywhere at one time. And this is now my husband and mine, like this is our full-time job is this. I run the business and help in the coffee trailer. He quit being a nurse to do this full-time, so it's like, this is, my full-time job. And we've grown the business and now it's like, well, we need more. So I'm actually participating in a business course and competition through our local, Small Business
Development Center?
Yeah, and it's called the Gauntlet Program. And in one of our classes, they were talking about grants. And the reason I'm participating in the program is so I can kind of hopefully learn and also hopefully win more money to help us further this expansion. And they were talking about grants being a good way to fund, expanding your business or growing your business. And I hadn't really thought about that. I don't know why. And so I was just Googling grants one day in February and found the Amber Grant. And I kind of applied last minute, but yeah, that was the main reason, is because we're hoping to expand either into a second trailer or start opening up drive-through only locations. And so that's very popular out west, not so popular on the East Coast. But the idea would be it's just, drive-through only, same thing we're doing in the coffee trailer, but in one of our, very busy, popular locations.
So is that how you're going to spend the $10,000?
Yeah, so we will be spending this money on some of the equipment that we need in order to have a second location. And then we will either finance the either second trailer, or we're probably going to put it in if we do a drive-through only, like in a stationary location, it will most likely be in a shipping container. So that we will either finance, or if I'm able to win this, gauntlet competition, then we would use some of that funding as well.
Very cool.
Thank you.
We used to have these little, and maybe you did as well, they were little kiosks for photo processing. I could totally see a coffee shop in one of those. It was just like a sort of a little box in the middle of a parking lot.
Yeah, that's basically the idea. Yeah.
Oh. Well, so beyond the immediate investing in another trailer, what are some of your future plans?
Let's see. We do, sorry, there's so many. I've been speaking at a lot of high schools recently in entrepreneur type classes and things like that. And I am really passionate about helping, young would-be entrepreneurs kind of figure out their path and realize that they are able to do this. Because when I was in high school, that wasn't really ever something that anyone encouraged in me, even though I was very entrepreneurial. Like I always talked about wanting a business, but it was just kind of like, go to college, pick a career, do that. So I was a teacher for 3 years before we started traveling. And I just think that there's a big, at least in our community, a lack of, not resources, the resources are there, but people just don't necessarily know how to access them or what is out there, and they're not always encouraged. So I've been going around and speaking to some of these high school classes, and then my goal is either late this fall or early next spring to have a conference. And so I've been talking with some of the local people that we would want to get interested in helping plan and get this all set up. And the conference would be for high school, early college students to come and learn from different business leaders in the community, and kind of have like tables set up with, where you might go to talk to someone about, well, how do you fund your business, or how can I market my business, things like that. So that's one of my plans.
Great.
Thank you. And then we also are going to be launching a plant-based energy drink line soon, because we have a lot of people, especially kind of like the younger market, that they want the energy from coffee, but they don't always like the coffee taste just yet. So these energy drinks are made with green coffee beans before they're roasted, and so we're going to have energy drinks that are more like fruit flavored. They're iced or frozen. You can customize the flavor just like you can our coffees. So that's really fun and exciting, and we're really looking forward to kind of rolling that out later this spring.
Can't wait to hear more. That's great.
Oh, thank you.
So do you have any advice for some of the aspiring women entrepreneurs, maybe even the teenagers that you're meeting with and speaking to now? Anything that you've learned along the way that you found really helpful?
Yeah, so one thing is to just go for it. Just, don't let people hold you back. When we first were telling our family that we were buying this coffee equipment, they thought we were crazy. We stopped, my husband stopped travel nursing so that we could be in a set location so that I could get this business going. And if we had listened to everyone that told us that was a crazy or bad idea, then we would not be doing it. And then also networking has been huge for us. At first, I thought that this would be so easy to just, like for us, for example, to just like, oh, set up the coffee trailer and people will come. But then the more that we have spent time talking to other people in the community or made relationships with other food trucks or even other coffee shops, the easier it has been to grow our business. And then that's probably my third piece of advice, is to support your other local businesses, even if they seem like your competition. We've made really good friends with the other local coffee shops in the area because our idea is, there's enough to go around. We don't need, every single person to come only to us. And we actually, started our business because we love coffee. And so when we're closed, we go out to other coffee shops and support them too. And we've made really great relationships. So I think that's super important.
Such great advice. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time today to share your story with the Women's Net community. And congratulations again on winning our February Amber Grant.
Thank you so much.